Hello and welcome to our final episode this season of At UNI. I'm your host, Piper Davis, and joining me today is a founding member of the UNI Guild of Caroliners, Owen Hoke, and the president of the UNI Meditation Club, Dylan Piper. We will first discuss what it's like to ring them bells up in the campanile here on campus. Thank you for joining us today, Owen.
Thanks for having me.
It's great that you can make it. So, how do you get involved with the UNI Guild?
Well, so I got involved in kind of a weird way since it wasn't a thing when I got here. It started back when I was in high school. I was in a production of Les Miserables in a community theater, but I met a guy named Keith Hahn, who was an alumni from UNI, who had played the bells when he was here. And when I talked to him, he told me I needed to get involved. I should meet the people who were in charge of it and go visit them. So I did. And when I got here, I visited Ben Owen, who was the player at the time, who also happened to be in a studio with me. We were both piano majors. And when I met him up there, I realized it was him. I talked to him about teaching me, so he taught me. And then after a couple years, we decided to turn into an organization, so we brought on a couple more people. And then now it's grown to, I think there's 11 of us now. And we're obviously continue to grow as we become more and more established on campus.
Very cool. I'm surprised to hear there's that many people.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing the carillon, or what other instruments did you start out playing?
Well, I started on piano when I was probably about 14. And that was what I actually came to UNI to do. I came to be a music education major on piano, and eventually I kind of stopped liking the program. It was just a bit too intense for me. I couldn't handle it at the time, so I switched majors. But I started playing when I was a sophomore here. I'm a senior now, so it's been about 2 years, and I play pretty much every day. So it's really great.
Cool. So, and you say you play pretty much every day, but how often would you say you're up there? Are you up there like a couple hours?
Yeah. Lately especially, I've been up there for a couple hours a day because I have a recital coming up that I'm performing in, and there's a lot of music that it's a lot harder than the stuff I normally play because I want to impress people with this recital I'm giving before I graduate, and so yeah, I'm practicing for probably about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, which can be it can drive you a little stir crazy when you're up there by yourself because you're just kind of in this room with these bells ringing for several hours at a time. You just need to like take a break and
get away.
Yeah.
It's very cool up there, though. I've got to say, I've been up there.
Yeah.
A lot of stairs, though. A lot of stairs.
Yeah, I think it's 88 stairs and then like 12 steps up a ladder, and then if you want to get to the belfry, it's another like 8 stairs or 8 ladder rungs.
It's a very good workout.
Yeah.
But so your rehearsal music, I think we actually have a clip of you playing that.
Oh yeah.
Let's play it. Let's take a look. So a song like that, you're obviously playing by yourself, but do you normally have more than one person with you?
Yes and no. I'm playing a lot of stuff by myself for the recital because I'm playing stuff that's actually written for the carillon. The more popular stuff that you hear, the Disney and like the Harry Potter stuff, that's all written for piano. And piano music, or I should say carillon music, is written with the thought that there's going to be one person playing in mind. So the stuff that's in the lower notes is usually much easier to play because there's only one of you playing it, which means you have to play it with your feet. The piano music is a lot more difficult to play by yourself because they're not thinking that. They're thinking you have one hand on the bass and one hand on the top part. So we typically try to have 2 people up there. Professionals can play by themselves. They can play whatever they want. We're not professionals. We're self-taught.
Yeah.
So typically we have 2 people up there at a time. I'm like the exception because I'm trying to learn this before I leave.
Yeah. So describe it for me. It's not just the upper level. There's also foot pedals.
So it's set up like a piano. It's set up just like a piano where you have 2 rows of notes at the top, like black keys and white keys, except they're pegs. Each peg is hooked up to a bell, so you have to use your fist or like a couple fingers to push one of the pegs because they're pretty heavy. And then there's a row on the bottom that it's not like an organ where it's a separate octave. It's the same octave as the lowest octave of the keys up here. It's just that I can't reach down here and up here at the same time and play like 4 notes at the same time. So I play 2 notes with my feet, and I play 2 or 3 notes with my hands. Yeah.
Multi-skilled, something I probably couldn't do. So what would you say if someone wanted to join? What would be the process of joining the guild?
Right. So I think I'm not sure if they're accepting new people in the fall because we're actually supposed to have 10 members. We have 11 now because one of our members left to study abroad, and we brought in a 10th member, and then she came back. So we were like, we can't really kick anyone out.
Yeah.
So we have 11 right now, but since I'm leaving and I'm the only one that's graduating in the guild, that brings us back down to 10. So I'm not sure if we have auditions next semester. Now, what we'll do when we do have auditions, and there will be auditions in the future, there will be posters all around campus. You'll see them. There'll be big posters with the campanile on them, and it'll probably say something like, "How would you like to play the bells?" There'll especially be in the music buildings, just because typically we get more interest from music students, but you don't have to be a music major to play it. I'm obviously not a music major, and we have a physics major who plays.
Cool.
So they'll be all around campus. There's also ways to get in contact with us. We have a Twitter account and a Facebook page, UNI Guild of Caroliners, at Facebook, and then the UNI account is, I believe, UNI Campanile, which is always weird because we're tweeting from the Campanile's perspective. But if you want to get in contact with us, that's a good way to do it. You can also email us, which you can find that. You can find all our information online.
Very
and
cool.
We're online.
So very easy to find out if you want to join. Now with that in mind, does that mean you have to be able to play a certain type of instrument? Do you have to have a piano background?
No. Most of the people who have played, not all of them, there are some that have, they've played piano for like, I was a kid and I played piano for like a month. As long as you can read music, that's the one thing that you have to be able to do, because, if you can't read music, it would be kind of difficult for us to teach you. And it helps if you have a background in some sort of a keyboard instrument, piano, if you played percussion and you can play the marimba, or, you just have some idea of how a keyboard works. That's a big plus. But we start people out easy music. We start them out in pairs, usually with someone who has played for a long time, who can, if you get 2 new people together, it can be kind of rough.
Yeah.
You want to have somebody who's more experienced with somebody who's not, to help them along, tell them, hey, when you get to this section, try this, and so, yeah.
Very cool. So anyone can do it.
Yeah.
Now for the past couple of years, people were able to go up and watch the carillon being played. I know I've always wanted to when I hear it playing, but is that something that can still happen, or is it a safety liability?
So it's tricky. For many, many years, we used to be able to say, hey, when you hear the bells playing, you can come up. And for years and years, even to the point when I was here, my first couple of years here playing, that was something we could do. However, recently there's been some concerns about whether or not we can bring the public up safely, because what happens is I'm up 100 feet in the air playing, and anyone can come up the stairs. That means that a child can come up. That means that someone who's spent the entire day drinking can come up. And it's a spiral staircase straight up, like 100 feet. It's safe. It's completely safe. We've been inspected by, fire inspectors. We've been, we're completely safe. But we're trying to get the stairs renovated at the moment. We're trying to get it so that we get a much easier set of stairs to go up, so we don't even have to think about it. And until we get that through, the stairs are currently closed, which is unfortunate. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that's a bummer, but it's just something we have to do because we don't want to be, we don't even want to have to consider the liability of it. And so that's what we're working on right now. We're trying to get NISG approval so we can start getting possibly funding to do events, to raise money and things like that. The funding is where we're running into the issue. Yeah. Right now, we're still looking for different revenue streams to get that done, so we can have people up whenever we want. And I know it's a really big tradition for people on campus. We get alumni coming all the time who just ignore the sign and come up because they know that when they came here before they could do it. And unfortunately, we've had to start putting barricades up so people didn't do that.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get it done so we can get the tradition back going, so people can actually go up there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people do enjoy watching. Yeah, not just hearing it.
We get requests to have people propose to each other up there. I've had 3 proposals since I've been here. I've played for 2 wedding ceremonies.
Wow.
We get people who they're like, oh, it's my graduation bucket list. I got to get everything done before I leave. Or one time I took up a family that was from Montana, their son happened to be graduating that day, and I was sitting on a bench listening to them talking about the Campanile and how awesome it would be, and I was going up in 5 minutes to play, and so I said, come on up. Unfortunately, I can't do that anymore, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, that's so great to go up there. I'm glad I got the opportunity to go up.
Yeah.
So can you give us a little history lesson about the Campanile and the Carillon itself?
Sure, I can definitely try. So I've read the articles about our Campanile on campus. It's been a while since I've read them, but the most interesting thing is that I think is that the project started in 1924. And they'd raised money before that, and they proposed it and talked about it before that. But in 1924, that's when they broke ground. And the construction continued until 1926, but sometime in the middle there, they ran out of a source of funding. And so what they did was they rededicated it to become a World War I memorial. So at the base, it says something like dedicated to the founders and staff of the Iowa State Teachers College, or something like that. That was the original dedication. And then about halfway through the construction, when they needed more funding, the faculty members at the time said, hey, think of it, it's a World War I memorial, like rally your students to donate, it was a big project. And so they finished it in 1926. And they originally had 15 bells. Each bell was dedicated to a different...
I've heard that, yep.
Yeah, they were dedicated to kind of weird things about the campus and about the city of Cedar Falls. The first bell, the bell you hear on the hour, the very low bell, it's the lowest bell we have, is the president's bell. And going up, it's like the bell of the faculty, the bell of the spirit of music, and bell of the citizens and children of Cedar Falls.
I've heard that one.
Yeah. And then after the 15, I believe the rest are donated to classes. Like a class put money in, it's like the class of 63 and the class of 72 and things like that,
Very cool.
And then as far as the instrument goes, the carillon we're using currently, I believe that was given to us in 1972. Before that, it was a much older model. We actually still have that in the on the ground floor of the Campanile, but I cannot imagine anyone playing on it because it's awful.
Do you know how many bells are up there total?
There are 42, I think. It's either 42 or 44. It's from a low C all the way up to a high C, several octaves up, with only 2 bells missing in the middle. We don't have the lowest C sharp and D sharp for whatever reason. They just didn't give them to us.
Not in the set.
Yeah, well, it's really annoying because a lot of times we'll have to play those notes, and rather than like playing the chord down here, we have to play like this to get the next. So yeah.
So you guys really do need some more funding.
Well, that's on the back burner.
For later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking with us today. We're going to take a quick PSA break, and up next, we'll share this week's top UNI Confession tweets and share a quote from Clara. After that, we'll meet up with the UNI Meditation Club President, Dylan Piper. Stick around.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
This week's number 3 tweet is, can someone please give me a motorcycle ride? Well, I don't have a motorcycle, but I do have a moped, so I don't know if that makes a difference. The number 2 tweet of this week is, what is the best way to find out the name of a guy when you're too shy to ask? Oh, I guess I've heard Facebook stalking's pretty good for that. And finally, this week's top tweet is, who do I talk to request that the Campanile plays trap music on Fridays instead of the bells? And that would be, do you have any opinions on that?
Well, just before the show, I finally figured out what trap music is. It's kind of like dubstep-y music. I have no idea what it would sound like on the Campanile, but if you give me the music, I can definitely try.
Well, there you go. We're going to try. Next up, we'll show this week's quote from Clara and then have another PSA. Stay tuned.
J'aime chanter pendant que je prends ma douche. Shower, oh, 歩いてる時に歌うが好きです. In French and in Japanese, that means I like to sing while I am taking a shower.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Here at UNI, it's getting close to the end of the semester, and the dreaded finals week is coming up. This, as many of us know, is a particularly stressful time for students. With us today in the studio is the Campus Meditation Club President Dylan Piper with some tips and ideas about dealing with stressful finals week. Thank you for joining us today, Dylan. Good to have you.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Glad you can join us. Now, meditation is considered something most anyone can do. How simple would you say meditation is?
It's as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. It can be simply paying attention to your breath, or it can be as exotic as like a Tibetan, like mandala meditation.
Very cool. So anyone can do it.
Yeah. It's accessible to everybody, and although there are like programs that cost hundreds of dollars, there's thousands of years of resources and that are available to everybody to learn how to meditate.
So with that in mind, do you think it's possible for someone to do a short meditation, say on their way to class or like right before a big exam?
Yeah. Actually, walking to and from classes is a great time to meditate. All you have to do is just focus on your walking and like what it feels like to be walking on this earth, to be alive, to feel your feet hit the ground, and just to enjoy what's around you, just to breathe and just to take that moment to pause, because you're in the middle of doing two different things. Whatever you're doing before you went to class, whether it was studying or whatever, to actually being there. So while you take that, like, you can take almost a breath per se between your classes. And so if you have things you're worrying about, you can sort of take your attention and focus on other things like your breathing and walking, so that you can relax a little bit.
Very cool. So would you say like playing the carillon is a form of meditation for you then?
I mean, in a sense, there's definitely an element of relaxation to it, especially when I'm going through a stressful day. It's kind of nice to go up there and just kind of let go and just experience the music.
So, very cool. What would you say makes meditation an important activity?
I think like nowadays we're so busy. We pack our schedules full of things. We all feel like we have to be doing something at all times, or else we're not going to succeed. We're not going to win at life. But then you have a bunch of anxious, on edge people that's hard, and it's hard to connect with people when you're always thinking about like the next thing you have to do, or they're thinking about the next thing they have to do. It really helps you be present and actually enjoy the little life you do have here on this planet. And if you're not enjoying it, why? What are you doing? Yeah. Why are you here?
So how long have you been practicing meditation yourself?
You start meditating when you're born. It starts from birth, actually. We only slowly kind of get away. We slowly trail away from like what's happening inside of our bodies and our awareness of what's around us, because we start thinking abstractly about the world and planning for the future and thinking about the past. So I don't know, my journey sort of back to connecting with myself was probably about 5 years ago.
Very cool. I never thought about it as starting that early.
Yeah, you start breathing in the womb. Well, it's fluids. You're not. Yeah, it's not air just quite yet, but yeah.
Still starts way back then as like connecting.
And just being alive and being in tune with that. Yeah.
So how often do you meditate on a regular basis?
You know what? It fluctuates. Like, I'm a busy person too who sets schedules and plans for myself. So a lot of times I get distracted by, the sort of career that I'm trying to pursue as a psychologist, and, doing research and going to class and studying and pursuing hobbies. But usually I would say every day. And even if that just means like walking between classes and paying attention to what's happening inside inside me, my breathing, my walking, my thoughts, just to be with it all, just to give myself a moment. I sit down and actually meditate at least once a week, if not more. So, and ever since 5 years, it's been at least once a week, if not every day, which is ideal.
Have you noticed an improvement or a difference in yourself after you started doing that?
Yeah, definitely. I've gained an ability to be calm when I need to be calm, or just if I'm dealing with like turbulent emotions, just to be with it and just like realize that they come and they go. Just like with happy moments, you know, that's why you want to be present with them, is because they come and they go. And the same thing with like fear and anxiety, they come and they go. And if you understand that, then it doesn't feel like a threat to your existence, to your life, because it's just a moment. It's just another fluctuation
Learn
in
to
your
live
life.
like day by day, or
Yeah,
like
and
in the moment.
Yeah,
Very cool.
with whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what different methods or ways of practicing meditation do you know of? Like I see you brought something with you here.
Yeah, so here is a singing bowl. So to like begin a meditation, you would sound the singing bowl. So it can be played like that, or it can be played like this. And basically that is just to signal one's attention to be present and to move into the meditation. You set certain cues for yourself, and you do certain rituals that get you into that state even faster. And so when you kind of associate it with sounds and different things, it kind of like gets you there faster. And it's also just kind of a way to track time as well.
So I know there's the traditional, like you always see people crossing their legs and like deep breathing. Is there other methods besides?
Yeah, that's definitely like the visual I would get, and I think most people would get when they think about meditation. But there's also standing meditation, there's moving meditation. You can do it in yoga while you're running. It's as long as you have like a sustained attention in the present moment to whatever you're doing, whatever's happening, that's meditation. And so like, yeah, playing, what is it called?
The Carillon.
The Carillon. If you're doing that and you're just really paying attention to what you do in the moment, without judgment. And that's an important thing too, because we'll still have thoughts, we'll still have feelings, and it's not that they shouldn't be there. It's not that you should be like a thoughtless zombie, sheep, monk. I don't know. Monks still have feelings, they still have thoughts, but they know how they work. They know how they come and they go, and they can see how, you know, just how it makes you feel. And so it's just being in tune with that and just kind of being in flow with that. That's what meditation is about, and not trying to push it away, just being with your experience, whatever it may be.
So going back to the music thing, would you say music for you can be an important method in maintaining your calm, or just anyone?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of music, actually dabble in creating music, and I think it has the ability to sort of sustain one's attention with that activity. Whether you're listening to it or playing it, it can help you bring you into that flow that meditation can also create. And when you're doing it, and when you're actually in the moment and you're not being critical of yourself or your thoughts or the music or what you're saying, when you really let go and just stay with that experience, even if you mess up a line or mess up a note, and you just keep going, that's meditation. You know, when you get yourself into that state of mind, it's joyful and it's freeing, it's freedom. And that's what meditation is for, is to feel free.
It's a lot like different than I was thinking about it, but it makes so much more sense than just like having to actually sit down.
Right, because you're not always going to sit down and be happy.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of shit on your mind probably, and sometimes you have to sit with that and breathe with that and just let it take its course. And that's really what it's about. So whether it's happy thoughts or not, you can work to make those into happier thoughts, or reframe it in a more positive way if things are really getting you down. But most of all, it's just understanding yourself and being okay with who you are.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So would you say that it's calming when the campanile is being played during the day? Or, because I know from personal experience, I live in the quads,
okay,
and I can hear it bouncing. And sometimes I'm studying and I'm just like, you know?
This is a great case study, right? Because I've felt it in both ways, where there's resistance to it, where it's like, gosh, I really wish this wasn't playing right now. Like it sounds so creepy, but it's like, but that's my mind resisting some sort of experience that you don't want in your field of experience. You want to control your experience. You know, we're all trying to like create our lives and architect our lives, but like there's a lot of things we can't control. So when you like, you know, it's how you frame it. Like if you see it as like creepy and unwanted, yeah, it's like it kind of sucks. Or if like, but if you're just like, oh, the Campanele's playing, and you're like, kind of sounds creepy, and then you just kind of like let the moments go by, and then like you kind of forget it's even playing. Like there's just different ways to think about it, but yeah, it can be annoying sometimes, and sometimes you have to just like explore why it's annoying. Just like what's happening to my mind. Okay, it sounds kind of creepy, or like this song sounds very different from how it normally sounds. I don't want it to sound like that, but it does, and so it's just the way it is, and it's not bad. It's just how you react. You know, how your mind is conditioned. And so, yeah.
Well, it's especially funny when we're actually actively trying to creep people out.
Yeah.
Or do that. When it's Halloween time, especially, we like to play like the Michael Myers theme and things like that are really creepy to be walking around campus with. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. We
it has that tonality.
Yeah, we have this. We have a repertoire of like pop hits and like other things people know. And when we play them once, we're just like, never again. Like, this does not sound good on the campus or on the Carillon. It makes it sound
gothic.
It does. You know? It really does. Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, when they played Disney for Homecoming Week, the Little Mermaid, that sounded really good on the Campanile. It didn't sound creepy.
Some are good, some not so much. The Bells of Notre Dame, for instance, sounds fantastic because it's written
for bells.
Yeah. But I can definitely see where you're coming from.
So now, Dylan, you are the president of the UNI Meditation Club. What exactly do you do during your meetings?
During our meetings, we do several things. We oftentimes have tea, meditate, and then we just talk amongst each other about our lives, our meditation practices, just how we feel. It's almost kind of like group therapy in a way, but it's self-sustaining. It's not forced. You're there to be with yourself, to be around other people that you really like, trust, and you're trying to be mindful with, and it just creates this atmosphere where you can really just be open and be vulnerable and just really connect with other people. So the group discussion that happens after, it's also very important, integral part of it.
So are there any meditation tricks or tips that you'd like to give us while we're here?
Yeah, I would say if you're trying to start, just focus on what you're doing. Like, what am I doing right now? I'm speaking in, for this show, for this production. And so just like understanding that, or whatever you're doing, just paying attention to it. And if your mind starts to wander, pay attention to that. But most of all, if you want to like learn how to do that, it really takes like focused training your mind to focus on an object, like your breathing or your walking or a sound. Some people listen to like a certain like meditation like tape that they focus on, or like the sound of rain, they might listen to that. So find something that you can sustain your attention on. And the breath is a really great object for that because it's always there. And it's part of the time it's a passive thing, right? We're not thinking about how we're breathing, we're not controlling it. But when you pay attention to it, you can actually control it. Like you can control your breathing. So it's this dynamic anchor point where you can just kind of watch it and see how it is. Is it slow? Is it fast? Is it, how am I breathing? And just like getting in tune with it. And then like, if you're breathing really fast and you're really anxious, you can slow your in-breaths and out-breaths to calm yourself down. It actually affects your central nervous system and tells your body, your sympathetic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system to just calm down.
Very cool, because I know there's a lot of devices that like train you on your breathing, like the new Fitbits and stuff have like breathing exercises for you to follow. So that'd be very cool to get into and stuff.
Also just research online. Like there's tons of resources out there. Just search how to meditate, and you'll find something that works for you.
WikiHow.
Yeah.
Well, very good advice. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you all for joining us on this semester-long adventure. Once again, my name is Piper Davis, and I hope you'll have a wonderful night. Thanks for watching at UNI.